Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Jessica, and I'm so excited to be here today to guide you through your mind-body connection. We're going to start off nice and slow on our mat with some real gentle stretches. We'll find our way to a standing position to do some really gentle flow. And then time's going to be up. Before you know it, we'll be at Savasana. So before we get started, create your space for yourself, turn the lights down, put on some gentle relaxing music if that's an option, maybe some aromatherapy to really get you in the most relaxed mood that you can be. Really take this time for yourself to do what feels good. And if you don't have all 45 minutes to join me, that's okay too. Just taking 5 minutes here or there to reconnect with your breath, with your mental focus, and just introspectively with yourself can really make a difference. So thank you for coming. Thank yourself for coming. Be so proud. We're going to start in Sukhasana, an easy seated position of your choice at 12:15. Hello, would you like some peanuts? You would. You want some peanuts? Okay. Thanks for saying hi. Here's a peanut. Here's a couple backup peanuts, okay? I love you, Birdie. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. No specific props needed for today's practice. However, there are going to be some forward folds. If you know that reaching the floor is a challenge for you and you want to have a block nearby, or if sitting in Sukhasana is uncomfortable for you, you want to sit on a block or a pillow or a rolled up towel, I encourage you to bring anything with you today that's going to make you feel as comfortable and relaxed as you can. Yep, I've already tucked my tank top into my pants like a winner, so I'm ready for this party. I'm ready for this party, so hearty. Make sure I turn the volume off of my computer for this party. That would be weird. Yeah, we are golden. If you have made it to your mat early, we got 1 minute before we get started. Good for you. I always like to come to a yoga class a little bit early so that I can just start to come into my mental space for class, start putting aside all of the other things that might be on my mind to do for today. Because let's be honest, it is the middle of the day. It's literally just afternoon on a Tuesday, so a lot of you might be enjoying this as a little lunchtime movement, meditation. Maybe you're still just thinking about what's to come. So do your best to just put those thoughts aside as you make your way onto your mat. Maybe finding some stretches that you need before class starts, or maybe just coming into the stillness, coming into your breath. Hi, Uncle Buck. Awesome. Well, it is that magical time. So thank you for coming. Thank yourself for coming. Starting off in Sukhasana, an easy seated posture of your choice. If you find that sitting down cross-legged is uncomfortable for you, if you notice that your knees are coming up towards your chest, think about sitting on top of a pillow or a block or a rolled up towel, just to start to find a little bit more space, to relax those knees down, to find some space in your hip flexors. And we'll take the next couple minutes to just start coming into your breath. Thank you for joining me. I'm Jessica, Health Fitness Program Manager from McLean. And today's mind-body practice is just going to focus on helping us be here in this moment. Focusing on your breath and knowing that wherever you are throughout this week, which can be a stressful week, I mean, can't they all? Let's be real. That anytime you need to, you can just find a space for yourself or close your eyes, just come into your breath, slowing your breath down. Sounds so simple, but sometimes it's not. So just notice throughout today's practice, throughout the week, when you do start to feel tense, where your breath goes, and if it is possible to find some extra length in your breath, to find that stillness in your mind, in your heart, in your body. Just relax yourself from the inside out. Scan your body right now from head to toe and just notice if there is any place that feels really tense. If you want to give yourself some stretches here at the beginning, something that you feel like you need that's going to help you relax to feel good throughout class. We'll take one more minute to just either stick with your breath or maybe give yourself some personal little massages. If you notice that your eyes are really darting around the room, seeing things that maybe you want to tend to in your space, close your eyes. Close your eyes and just come back to the right here, right now. Just practicing focus. This is just yoga practice. It's not yoga perfect. So remember, you can take as many breaks as you need to. If you want to stop and have a sip of water, please honor what feels right in the moment for you and your body today. Feel free to keep those eyes closed. All right, let's work on finding a little bit of length through our spine. So really stretching up through the crown of your head, relaxing those shoulders down and away from your ears. We're gonna lift our hands up overhead on our next big breath. So go ahead, relax your arms down by your side. Prepare to take a nice deep inhale, stretch up to the ceiling. Pull that belly in nice and tight, and exhale, relax and release your arms down to the floor. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, come on down. Moving at your own pace with your breath. Maybe your breath is a little bit faster than mine. Maybe your breath is a little bit slower. One more time, wherever you are, inhale those arms up. Stretch through those fingers, pull that belly in nice and tight. And then we're gonna go ahead and relax the right hand fingertips or forearm down to the floor. Keep your left glute in contact with the mat as you stretch over to the right side. Try not to collapse your chest down to the floor. Find a little bit more opening by drawing that left shoulder, left elbow back. And then change, inhale your right hand back up towards the ceiling, and then exhale that left hand down. Either hand palm or forearm can come down to the mat. Once again, focus on opening up that chest just a little bit. Feel a big stretch throughout the right side of your body. Go ahead, inhale, press yourself up. Both hands come up. Take your time, use your breath. Exhale on the way down. Inhale on the way up. Just switching side to side. Maybe going a little bit deeper each time that you pass through. Just honoring what feels right for you today. If you need to keep the movement shallow because you're being mindful, you can always come back tomorrow and see how your body's feeling then. Go ahead, take one more time to each side. Make sure you finish on the opposite side that you started with. Take that big stretch up towards the ceiling. Go ahead, bring your hands, palms together, and bring them down towards heart center. Awesome. Press your palms together. Open up your fingers like a lotus. Elbows stretch down towards the floor. Notice what's happening with your belly. Is your stomach still sucked in? Is your core still engaged? Are you pulling your shoulders down away from your ears? Awesome. Bring those hands, palms back together. Bring your thumb up to your drishti, your third eye. Start to stretch those elbows forward as you press your thumbs to the outside. Space the inner part of your eyebrows. Find some rounding in that back. Still drawing your belly button back towards the spine. Take a deep inhale, stretch those elbows up towards the ceiling. Lift your chin, nose, eyes open or closed up towards the ceiling. Take a big inhale and then exhale. Pull your elbows out wide to the side. Trace your eyebrows as they come off your face. Find a big stretch to the side. Maybe you're reaching through one hand and then the other as you relax and release your hands down to the floor. Nice work. Let's go ahead and take a twist. All right, we're going to inhale those arms back up once again. And we're going to exhale and turn towards the right side. Go ahead, bring your right hand behind you. Left hand comes forward. You can hang out here for a longer twist or inhale those hands back up and exhale. Just working with your breath to gently twist from side to side. If one side feels particularly good, feel free to take a couple seconds there. If you're hanging out just in one twist, working to use that exhale to come a little bit deeper each time, go ahead, take 2 more breaths where you are, and then switch to the opposite side. Just a couple more times through if you're working with your breath. Maybe you can twist a little bit deeper each time, applying a little pressure of your fingers against the floor behind you. Taking a bend of that back elbow will help you feel the twist a little bit deeper. All right, make sure you finish up on the opposite side that you started with. So one more time to come through each side. And ending with those arms up towards the ceiling. Just take a moment finding that stretch again, allowing everyone else to join us right here. And then relax those fingers down to your shoulders. We're going to find some rounding of the back again. So, let's warm up our shoulders first though. So you're going to bring those elbows towards each other. You might already feel that rounding. Take an inhale as your elbows stretch up. Begin to exhale as they come behind you. And then down towards your thighs. Inhale, come together. Up and open. Exhale, back. And down. Let's do 5 more. If you're feeling good, feel free to get that back involved. Two more times, letting the elbows lead. Finding some warmth in the shoulders as well. Last time through. This time as your elbows come down towards your thighs, we're going to reverse the direction. So inhale on the way back, up, exhale forward, down. Inhale back, up, exhale forward, down. Go for 5. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, forward and down. Can you bring your chest a little closer towards your knees? Does that feel good for you today? Making sure you're still keeping those glutes in contact with the floor. 2 more times. Last one. Relax your hands down either on your thighs and gently roll yourself back up. Stack your head over your heart, maybe shake it out just a little bit if you're still feeling any tension. Pull those shoulders down and back and pull your belly back in for some support. It's a scary sound. Let's warm up our necks just a little bit. So take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. If you want to increase the stretch, you can bring your left hand fingertips to the floor and gently walk them away. Even applying some pressure of your left fingertips on the floor or mat to feel an extra stretch throughout the left side of your body. If you want to feel it even more, inhale that right arm up towards the ceiling, bend at the elbow, bring your fingers behind your ear. Just some gentle pressure. And if that feels too much for you, you can always release that left hand back down to the floor. Sorry, right hand. If you do have your fingers by your head, we're going to change the stretch just a little bit. You'll feel it more if your hand is on your head. Go ahead and walk those fingers towards the back. Tuck your chin towards your chest and allow your elbow to stretch a little bit more towards the front of the room. Big stretch along the back of the neck. Take a deep inhale, twist your chin, nose up towards the ceiling, drawing that elbow back slightly this time. And change, release your fingers from your head. Lift that right ear from your right shoulder. Exhale and go ahead, bring your left ear to your left shoulder. If your right hand fingertips are already on the floor, you can walk them away from you slightly. Remember, both sides of the body are not the same, so perhaps this is the perfect stretch for you. If you need a little bit more, you're inhaling your left arm up towards the ceiling and placing your palm gently on your scalp with your fingertips close towards your ear. Take a couple breaths right here. Then start to walk your hands a little closer towards the back of your head. Tuck your chin to your chest. Stretch your elbow towards the front of the room. Feel the big stretch on the back of the neck. A little bit more throughout the right side shoulder. And then change one more time. Stretch your eyes, nose, chin up towards the ceiling. Very little pressure of the fingers on the back of the head. I'm just going to release mine down for some support. One more big breath. Awesome, and change. Come on back to a seated position. We'll just hang out here in Sukhasana. Take that full body scan from head to toe and notice, are you still feeling any tension in the same places that you felt when class started? Are you already starting to feel a little bit more relaxed, in tune with your breath, with this moment right now? Remember, if you do find your mind going other places than your breath, you can always count the length of your inhale and exhale. Whatever it takes to practice the mindfulness of being here right now. Awesome. Go ahead, bring your hands in front of you. Let's take one more stretch of that lower back. Depending on how your lower back is feeling, you might want to stay lifted, even with your fingers tented, while taking a forward hinge of your hips. That is a great way to come into a stretch and help relieve some lower back pain. If you're feeling good, you can walk yourself out and maybe decide to melt a little bit more down towards the floor. Make sure that you still have contact with your glutes on the floor. You're not coming forward so much that you're rolling onto your shins. You can allow your chin to tuck down towards your chest. And if you found that you came deeper into the stretch than feels good for you, you can always come back to that active back. The support of your hands, palms, even straight arms on the floor. We don't need to be a hero today because we can always do yoga later or tomorrow. Awesome. Go ahead, walk those hands over to the right. You can place your left hand on top of the right, applying some pressure, drawing your left shoulder forward, right shoulder back and down while pressing that left hip into the floor. And change. Walk your hands back through center. Place your right hand on top of the left. Draw that right shoulder forward, left shoulder back. Find that big stretch all the way through your shoulder, down through your hip, sit bones still grounded. Awesome, and change. Walk yourself back through center. One more opportunity to walk forward. And walk it back in. Lift yourself up. Bring your hands behind you. Go ahead, bend your knees. Feels so good. Windshield wipe those feet right and left, right and left. Awesome. Bring the soles of your feet together for some version of butterfly. So depending on how tight you're feeling, it might feel good to bring your heels all the way close to the center line of your body. And you might find that you need to have your feet a little bit further away from you. Remember, if you're having any lower back pain, taking that hinge forward instead of rounding forward is going to help to alleviate that pain. And that hinge forward that I'm speaking of right now is so useful when you're doing forward folds. Really think about hinging from your hips and bringing your belly towards your thighs, as opposed to when we were doing our shoulder rolls and your elbows were stretching forward and you were finding a move that was more like cat, and you can feel that big stretch that finding that cat move, if you even want to practice it right now, brings to your back. And we don't want that in that forward fold. We want to be relaxed. So you can practice right now taking this hinge, because we've got some forward folds coming up. Feel free to come down as much as feels good for you. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Beautiful. Gently lift yourself up. Keep that right leg in. Stretch your left leg out. We're trying to make a 90-degree angle here. So not super wide. And I want you to turn and face that left leg. Find your sit bones ground into the mat. Pull that belly in. Take that big lift. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale. Bring those hands down to heart level, palms together. We're going to take one more inhale, belly tight, hinge forward with that flat back. And then if it feels good for you on your next inhale, you can round yourself down. Find a little bit more of the stretch. Hopefully your belly has come in contact with your thigh from that forward hinge. And change. Lift yourself up. Inhale those arms back up overhead. Let's switch our legs. Nice work. So bringing the sole of your left foot to your right thigh bicep. Turn gently towards your right leg. Inhale, stretch up. Bring your hands down to chest height on your exhale. Take one more inhale. Hinge forward, bringing belly to your thighs, and you can stay here. Or on that next inhale, round down. It's okay if your hands don't quite grab your feet. You can have your hands by your thighs. We're creating a big stretch along the back of our legs. Great work. Take one more deep inhale. Lift yourself up. Bring those arms up overhead. Let's go ahead and send both legs out in full dragonfly. Exhale your hands down. and find what feels good for you. Maybe you need to have your hands behind your hips and stay really lifted. Flexing those toes back towards your face, you're going to feel the stretch along the back of your legs. If your hips are feeling a little bit more open, if your back is feeling good, you can always walk your hands forward. I'm loosening things up because it feels good for my body today to just squeeze one glute, stretch through one heel a little bit more than the other. Just something you might want to try. Awesome. Let's walk ourselves over to our left leg. Place your left hand on the outside of your left calf. Just find some placement of that hand there. Your arm can be straight. Your arm can be bent. We're going to inhale that right arm up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're not collapsing down towards the floor, so really open up behind you. We're going to find a little extra stretch. So inhale, reach all the way over to the left side. And exhale, straighten yourself back up. Inhale, see if you can bend that elbow, reach. Exhale, lift yourself back up. 2 more, inhale and reach. Exhale, pull back. Feel those shoulders engage. Last time, inhale, reach. Oh, so good. Exhale, come back. Inhale, both arms up overhead. Turn towards your right leg. Exhale that right hand down towards the floor. Open that chest to the side. Take a couple moments right here in the breath. Flex your toes back towards your face. And get ready to, once again, 4 breaths. We're going to find an extra reach. So inhale, see if you can bend that right arm a little bit. Reach. Exhale, pull yourself up. Bring that elbow down. Engage that back. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull. Last 2, inhale, reach. Exhale, pull. 1 more, reach. Pull. Oh, you got it. Relax your arms down by your side. We're going to come into some 90 legs. So go ahead, fold this left leg in, coming towards your right thigh bicep, and then you can lean over towards the left as you fold that right leg in behind you. You're going to use your breath to exhale that right glute down towards the floor as much as possible. You can place your hands on your thighs or your knees to help find a little bit of lift. Open up that chest, pull those shoulder blades back. Relax into this big stretch happening right here. I feel it big time in my right hip, right glute. Awesome. Let's change. Bring your hands behind you. We're going to send those knees up towards the ceiling. You might need to reposition yourself slightly. Keep your left foot on the floor. Lift your right leg up, cross it over your left, and then you can walk your hands in closer if it feels good. I turn my fingers to the back of the mat to find that extra lift. Keep stretching your right knee away from you. A little upright thread the needle. Great work. Take 1 more big inhale here. Exhale, you can walk your hands back to release that right foot down to the floor. Inhale your left leg up, cross it over your right. Walk your chest to meet those thighs again. So much of our belly coming in contact with our thighs if possible. Once upon a time, you might have thought that wasn't a good thing, eh? But it actually is really good. It's so supportive here in our practice. Awesome. 1 more big breath here. Lift that chest, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then change. Walk your hands back, come out of the stretch. We're going to come into 90-90 in the opposite direction. So this time your right leg is coming towards the left thigh bicep and your right foot is coming behind you, either with a 90-degree angle of that foot, or if it feels good, you can bring it in a little bit closer, place the top of the foot on the floor, and just use that breath. Work to release your left glute down towards the mat. Find what feels good for you today. I feel this one a little bit more in my lower back than I did on the opposite side. So I'm gonna be kind to myself, take a little bit of a little lean, because you just gotta be smart for your body today. Yoga is not all or nothing. Remember, it's a practice, it's not perfect. Just being here is the best part. Yay! Okay, let's come on to our hands and knees in tabletop. Once you get there, send your hips back to your heels. Let's come into our breath. Just relax a little bit right here. Stretch out that lower back. Stretch out the shoulders as much as feels good for you. Just checking in on my awesome tucking in of my tank top into my pants. Okay, good times. All right, so depending on how your body, especially your back, is feeling is really going to influence how close you can get those hips towards your heels. So remember, your practice is not my practice and my body is not your body. So you're working within the constraints of what you can do today, and you're just doing your best. Yoga is such a beautiful mix of both flexibility and strength. Being flexible is awesome, but you have to be in control of how flexible you are in the postures. You don't want to overstretch. Just like being strong, sometimes without flexibility, having lots of muscle and strength can make it difficult to find some of the posture, and it's truly about a beautiful friendship between the two. I was going to say marriage, but they don't have to get married. It's totally okay. All right, go ahead, bring your hands, palms back underneath of your shoulders. Let's warm those legs up just a little bit. Go ahead, send your left leg back behind you. Bring the ball of the foot to the floor and start to stretch through your heel towards the back of the mat. Find that stretch in your calf, starting to engage your glutes as well. Maybe even feeling it through your quads, your hamstrings, depending on how your week has been. I like to find a little bit of rocking right here just to loosen things up. Yay, we're going to take a big stretch right here. So you're going to lift that left leg up, so much stuff over here, and cross it over your right side body, and then you're going to look over your right shoulder for that left leg. Feel free to even shift your hips a little bit over to the left to increase the stretch. Make sure you feel it from your shoulders through your hips. Make sure you're creating a stretch as it feels right from your hips all the way down through your heel. And change. First, turn back towards center. Re-engage those palms fully into the mat. Bring your left knee back to meet with your right. Now give yourself a couple cat-cows, couple shimmy shakes of your hips, just finding the movement that feels good for you. Hopefully no one's watching. You can be as weird and as wiggly as you want. All right, let's go ahead and get the opposite side. So go ahead, extend your right leg back behind you. Get the ball of the